That's
Can
fine.
you
It's
hear
nothing
me?
to do with you. It's Instagram. So it happened before. So
Okay.
hi, how are you? I would say nice to see you, but nice to hear you.
Nice to see you.
I hope everybody can hear us. So and see us. So tell us, please, if you could hear us and see us. I want to thank you, Lisa, for taking the time. I know it's Monday. Monday is a moon day, so if you're taking it easy. But we're going to talk about your work and how you work and with the moon and flowing with the moon. And I want to mention your beautiful books and everything that you do. So tell me, first, introduce yourself a little bit. I know we had a opportunity to meet in person, and Lisa is so lovely, and I love meeting her and talking to her about her work. So tell us more. What do you do? How did you come with astrology, and why moon?
Okay, yes. So I thank you for having me. I'm excited to do this. Yeah, so I really got into astrology, like studying it seriously in 2019 in my yoga teacher training. But my grandma is the one who really got me into it when I was little. And the reason for the moon is because I'm a Cancer rising. So obviously, I have to I'm drawn to do everything with the moon and live with the cycles. And then I'm an astrologer and then teacher. I say teacher guide. I don't know if you know anything about human design also, but I'm a projector in human design. So
Mhm.
I try to put myself in those guiding kind of roles, or I just end up in them. And yeah, right now my big thing is using astrology and the moon to help people live cyclically and really tap back into our roots. And that's one of the most Cancer rising things I could probably ever say. So
I love it. I think you're doing your chart, as people would say. I
yeah.
love that so much. So tell us more about this. I know that some people know a little bit about moon, some people don't know anything. We have Monday as a moon
Yeah.
day, of course, right? And then we have the new moon, full moon. Most people know about, but we also have lunar phases and lunar
Mhm.
families. So
Yeah.
how does this work in our everyday life? How can we live and flow with the moon?
Yes. So, yeah, Monday's Moon Day. I joke that I don't work on Mondays because it's our emotional day. Like the week starts on Tuesday. Um, so
I
yeah.
like that.
So yeah, I most
We should
people
all
look at
start
me.
on Tuesday. I
Yeah.
totally agree. I think we
Yeah.
should change this as a policy. Yes, I agree.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I don't know. I'll even do work on a Saturday, but there's something about Mondays that it's that, the moon is all about our emotional body, our inner world, what we need to nurture ourselves. And I feel like most of us don't really, at the end of the day with our nurturing, don't want to like get up and go, go, go. We need that time to like rest and take care of ourselves. But what I like to do as like a step further, compared to just like I always know when there's a new moon, full moon, or quarter moons. But I tend to flow more with how the moon changes signs every 2.5 days, as opposed to just the new moon, full moon. So yeah, the moon will go through all 12 zodiac signs each sun season,
Mhm.
and I like to track that. And then I have a program where I've had other people come in and learn how to do that as well. I would remind them when the moon changes, and then they get the prompts and everything, which is the ways to like practically work with it. But yeah, we go through that up and down every month with all the signs. We experience all the energy.
Yeah, I know. I love that. It's every time it's a different combination. So I know we now have a moon in Sagittarius.
Yeah.
And it's a balsamic moon phase. It's a phase just before the new moon. It's very reflective. So what would you say, for example, for people to what is the guide? What would the guidelines for moon in
Yes.
Sagittarius?
So I always say for Moon and Sagittarius days, it's great to learn something new and allow yourself to like study whatever's like a fascination in that moment. And then you might find yourself either feeling a little more bold or fun, or wanting to like be the truth teller or just share the information that you're learning. I find that there are days where you're always asking why, like you'll question a lot of things. You might be talking more, just feeling more social, in a sense. And then, yeah, you said the optimistic side of things.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, with it being right before a new moon, you might almost feel like excited to be reflective, or like excited what intentions you're going to set, because that's the energy of Sagittarius. So
Right? Yeah, like, oh my God, what is the new cycle going to be all about?
yeah.
This is me. I have a full ninth house. I'm all about, ah, it's amazing. So what from your experience, how does this work? So what do people can benefit from it?
Yeah, so if you know, well, I'm big into the sun, knowing where the sun is going through your chart as well,
Okay.
with the moon. But if you know what season you're in, you're just
Mm,
you're not as hard on yourself. If you know, like, okay, I'm feeling this way for this reason, it's a lot easier to flow and just be in tune with your cycles. And then I find life just feels easier in a sense, or just more in flow. I'm all about the being in flow, being
mhm.
Cancer rising, I have Pisces
Yes.
moon. So we have to be in flow. Like, things shouldn't feel difficult. And if they feel really difficult, like, the universe is sending you a message, like you're not in flow with your own cycle. So
Mm.
I find that if you know what house the moon is going through, and then you know that flow, um, everything will just feel a lot easier. Yeah. I don't, yeah.
Okay, so for example, if we know if the moon goes through our 12th house, we should be maybe more alone, spend more time alone. Even it doesn't matter, right? Or
Yeah, you
like
might just
for
feel
every
more quiet. Yeah, on those
right?
days. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So it doesn't matter. For each of us, it's going to be a different sign. But for
Mhm.
us personally, it doesn't matter which sign is it. It's the house that then impacts, right? So
Yes.
we trace the houses as well. Yeah, I
Mhm.
like that. So yeah, for everybody who doesn't have a chart or just pull up your chart, look at those numbers 1, 2, 3, 4 to 12, and see the glyph of the sign. And if you track your moons, you can see how that reflects. I like that. Uh, so was this how like the result that you had? What is the feedback from your clients? How does this impact their lives? What is the feeling? How do I know it's exciting, right? To have this tool to work with. So what is the feedback? What is in your life experience? How did this raise your productivity or just your lifestyle and life in general?
Yeah, the last moon challenge that I did, it's mainly women that I do the moon work with,
Okay.
but a lot of them really just, it's almost an invitation to slow down and almost like
Hmm.
reject the way that society tells you to flow. So, or not even flow. This is what they don't tell you to flow. They tell you to sort of work, work, work. So the flowing with the moon and knowing where it is an invitation to slow down and almost take care of yourself a little bit more, and like what your needs are, and not prescribe to what the outside world is telling you to do. So it kind of brings you on this inward journey. And then through that, I find you do lots of reflection. I've had one client describe it as like, it feels like a therapeutic process almost, because you're just learning to listen to your own body's needs, which we can normally, you know, ignore some of the time. But I find that it's just almost an invitation to go inward. And then I find if you do one cycle, if you just commit to like tracking one moon cycle, you'll just feel like you know yourself a lot better.
Yeah, we forgot to mention the basics for people who don't know what is moon about. It's about our inner needs and emotions. Can you tell us more? What does moon mean actually in this horoscope sense?
Yeah, so the moon is our sort of our inner world. That's the easiest way to describe it. It's what we need at the end of the day to feel satisfied and nurtured. So depending on what zodiac sign your moon is in, that's sort of the way you need to nurture yourself. I can give my example, and then maybe you can share yours if it's helpful
Yes.
for people. So my moon is in Pisces in the ninth house. So I need lots of alone time to feel like nurtured. I need my own bubble and my own space. Like, even behind me, I have like all my crystals, and I need to feel that connection to like a higher universal power. And then I also, as a Pisces moon, need lots of sleep. I just let myself sleep more than the average person. And most people think it's weird when I tell them how much I sleep, but I just have to kind of ignore that, because I need that to feel, for my moon to feel nurtured. And then the ninth house aspect of it is like, I don't know, I'm always seeking new information. I'm always learning something new. And I have to feel like I bring philosophy, I guess, into things where I have to intellectualize things and then share what I'm learning to feel like I'm actually, I don't know, being helpful in some way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this kind of explains your teaching, right? Because the ninth house
Yeah.
is also the house of teaching, and then you feel also nurtured when you teach others. I feel that because I have
Yeah.
a ninth house moon
Yeah.
as well, although mine is in Gemini. It's a little bit different, but it's the same thing. Like for me, I need to talk about everything. I need to talk about when I feel sad or when I feel happy. I need to express it with words.
Mhm.
So, that makes me happy. If people want to talk to me and listen to me. It sounds funny, but when um, I feel really emotionally, personally sad when people kind of ignore me, or I don't know. It just also my curiosity and my endless emotional need for knowledge is, like books or listening, reading all the time just makes me feel so happy. Like, just snuggle under the blanket and, take a new course or something,
Yeah.
especially if astrology, or read a book. It was always like that. So that really makes me really, really happy. Yeah, and it's a nice house. So I want to also share my knowledge. That's why I'm doing all these lives. I meet somebody just
Yeah.
like, yes, I need to, let's share your knowledge with other people. Let's introduce you. So networking as Gemini, that makes me happy as well. So I know people always tell me, where's the energy? How can you talk so much? Well, it makes me happy.
Yeah.
No, that's amazing. I love that. Tell me more about your books. I know that you wrote some excellent books, like guide tools for everyday life. Tell me more about that.
Yeah. So when I was, I've done everything very young too. I don't know if that's like my Saturn and Aries, but I just sort of get an idea and I have to do it in the moment. But in 2021, when, if people can understand this, the planet Uranus in Taurus was on top of my Mercury in Taurus, and I just I wrote the one book. I just felt like the need to do it. I don't really remember the process of writing it, but it is a very like intro beginner guide to how to use astrology and kind of look at your chart, but also other tools as well. Like I always like to, integration is really big for me. So how can we integrate it with mindfulness tools, yoga, the seasons, all of that? And then the title of the book, and I never really know if this is more my ninth house moon or the fact that I have Uranus and Aquarius like directly trining my Gemini sun. But the book is Don't Tell Me What to Do. And it's a very bold statement, but it's more like I have a little note right when you open the book that says, I sort of want people to question things more and use this Don't Tell Me What to Do. Like we have the answers within ourselves. We don't necessarily need to go like outside and let others sort of tell us what to do. You can sort of ask for advice when needed or guidance, but we have to learn to trust our own intuition more. So that's the note behind the title of the book. But yeah, it's almost like a beginner's guide, very easy to kind of understand.
No, that's great. It really expresses. So for people who don't know, Uranus is a planet of, I'd say, awakeness, awareness, raising awareness. And
Yeah.
it kind of shocks and wakes you. And when it touches the planets, because you have Sun and Gemini and then Mercury, when it touches this, it just goes, I need to express it. I need to, break free from, and just say it out loud. So I love that for you. I really feel that's beautiful. And, provoking, a little bit of rebellious, right? So,
Yeah.
I love that. That's awesome. What's the next one? The next one is very good.
The other book?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I created, it's like almost like a manual workbook, the Decode Your Soul Purpose. It's like basically a breakdown of how to decode your chart. It started off as like a workshop I did, and then it just expanded into the book. But yeah, I probably will write more books as I don't know, as I have more life experience and then integrate it with astrology. But yeah.
I love that. And you're currently doing also workshops, right? What do you have on plate currently to offer?
For online, I'm doing a Astrology of 2024 workshop, like just a free class to tell people about that. And then I'm trying to plan some in-person stuff. I would like to do some in-person things in the Hamilton, Ontario area. I don't know if anybody if anyone follows you in
I'm
that
nearby.
area.
I'll come. No, but it was seriously. We should do something. Yeah, I was also thinking about doing something in the local community in person, some kind of workshops as well. That would be awesome. The
Yeah.
few of us do something together. We'll talk about it. Anyway, yeah, that's a great idea. I love that. I love that. So overall, I know you're so young, but so versatile, so smart. I know, guys, I met her in person. It was such a beautiful conversation. Lisa is really amazing. You guys, you really are. So do you have any pointers, for example? So I know you flow with the moon, but what happens when we have eclipses? And then how can we flow with an eclipse?
Yeah, so I always say you can't necessarily even flow with the eclipse. My experience with it is you just have to sort of flow with what comes forward with the eclipses. And then, yeah, I don't know. The eclipses are very strong. Like my experience with the eclipses that just happened really shook up things. And I'd say that if you ever have any like intuitive moments or like little callings and you're not listening to them, the eclipses force you to listen to them, whether you like it or not. I'm normally pretty calm with new moon, full moons, but when there's the eclipses, I had a few like very, very emotional, like crying, just like I couldn't stop crying with it. But it was because there was like a resistance, like I wasn't actually flowing or listening to my own intuition. So that would be my little pointers for the upcoming eclipses this year. Is definitely so like springtime, like in March, and then in the fall.
Yeah.
You just have to like listen to what like trust your intuition more basically as I've said that like 4 times right now, but yeah.
But it's important that what I realized through learning astrology and through my practice and talking to other astrologers is that all of us have intuition. It's just that we don't, people, because of the society that we live in and the schools we go to and the condition we live in by society and by parents and just raised, we kind of all feel that we're not intuitive, we're all logical, but it's not true. I certainly, I really, psychic is something different, but we're all intuitive, and I think we can develop our intuition, and with practice, listening to meditation, we can really grow it, and because we all have it within us for sure. I'm 100% sure of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's interesting. So, do you feel that flowing with the moon and just even not just the moon, but the whole planetary system, just listening, just understanding the cycles and going with the cycles of the planets, can we develop our intuition more in that sense?
Yes, I definitely think so. I mean, definitely tracking what transits you have with all the planets and with the moon. The moon is just like it flows so fast, it can just like kind of help you with tracking it. But normally what I've heard from a lot of clients is that they'll look back at things that I've posted with like hindsight and they're like, oh wow, that was happening for me in that particular part of my chart. That explains this. And so there's a different energy when you hear something and it's already happened and it makes sense. But then as you're flowing with it, I mean, like today, I'll give an example. Today I've signed up for probably like 5 free courses. I mean, the moon's in Sagittarius. I'm like, ooh, free, I'll sign up. Now, will I do all of these little mini courses? Like, maybe not, but the intention is there that I'm like wanting to learn something new with the Sag energy. So, I mean, someone could just say like, oh, you want to learn something today? And then I'll be like, oh, it's because the moon's in Sagittarius. But yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense. And for personally, I know that it's, I'm a mercurial girl with all my placements, but when the moon is in Virgo, it goes through my 12th house because I have a late Virgo degree ascendant, and it's squaring my moon and squaring my sun. And I always feel that I don't want to talk about anything, which is interesting because I always like to talk. But Virgo moons, like, which is unusual, they're also Mercury ruled. I just want to be alone in that sense. So that's interesting. It's interesting that you kind of, everybody needs to kind of track a couple of months, right? Track to see if the same, what the same moon does every month. Just make a note, track one moon or track whatever, and then see if the themes are repeating with it, because I find they do.
Yeah, I tell people in the Moon Challenge to find your favorite day and your least favorite day. And like, I love Moon and Virgo days. I always feel like I get downloads in them, but it's my third house, so it's very different from the 12th. I do not like Moon and Aquarius days. I really don't. Like, I love Aquarians, but any Aquarius transit I don't like because it goes through my 8th house, and I'm just not in the mood to deal with anyone. So I've discovered that. So yeah.
That's very interesting. That's very interesting. And when you have people in your life that have moons, right? That maybe you're not compatible, but they fall in these houses, it can also be a trigger. I noticed that as well. So
yes,
it's just interesting, right?
Yeah.
Do you feel that moon compatibility is important?
Yes, I always say, like, a lot of people, I don't like to do relationship readings, and I tell people that, but normally whenever I do like a first reading, I'll be like, any last questions? And a lot of people ask about love. I hate it. I prefer to talk about like career or you or even business, but so my train of thought just totally escaped me what I was saying. But
okay, you're also Gemini. I understand that.
Okay, so some people will say like, oh, I've heard Venus is all about like relationships, but I think the moon is the most important thing to look at in like synastry, compatibility, astrology, because you need your emotional needs, some of them met in a relationship. So I think Venus is more like friendships or things you like doing, your passions, but as like the moon is really important when it comes to relationship compatibility and not so much with your friends, but
even understanding other people's moons, it can help you in everyday life. It could be the workplace, with your family members, with a kid. Like, I always give an example of my kid who has moon in Scorpio. If I didn't do astrology, I would be a very frustrated mom at this point with my moon in Gemini. I would be really, why doesn't he want to talk? What's wrong with me? What's wrong with him? Now I understand. He needs time on his own. He needs that. He just needs hugs and kisses. He doesn't need to talk, right? So it's different, right? So understanding the moon, you don't have to go deep, but just basic understanding, it helps you so much with understanding people around you, and helps you. I mean, if you're open to it, of course. That's the thing.
My brother has moon in Scorpio.
Who else?
My brother has moon in Scorpio, so I know anyone who has a water moon, they're going to be your more introverted people. The fire moons are going to be the loud ones. Air moons are the more social, and then earth moons are the more practical ones in the grounded group. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I know. It's very interesting. I would give moon, even more points than sun. Or I mean, I feel ascendant is also very prominent. I think it shows in a person. I think sun doesn't show that much. I feel that sun is something that we aspire to be, something that we want to become in this life, something that we are trying to understand yet. But the moon, we know from when the time we are born. That's how I feel, right? I don't know.
Yeah,
does that make sense? But
something people can always do, and I did this when I found out my moon sign, because I'm very Gemini with a lot that I do, but then other days I don't feel like a Gemini at all. Like, I don't want to be social and things like that. But some people have said you're like moving, like you're growing towards your sun sign throughout your whole life. So maybe I'll be a very social like when I'm in my 50s or 60s or something. I don't know.
But it doesn't have to be just socializing. Like Gemini is not just socializing. Gemini is also about being curious and learning, and the way you write. That's Gemini. Yeah. That's your sun. So different types of expression. It doesn't have to be verbal, or you can, there's a different ways. Like with your Uranus in Aquarius, right? You said.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's your mind is always going to be out there. You're always going to explore, and it's never ending. Because I think Uranus is also it's a connected with Gemini in my book. So.
Yeah, but what I was gonna say is ask your parents or even your grandparents what you were like when you were like really little, like under the age of 7. And I feel like that will give you clues into your moon sign and your ascendant. And then we kind of lose that as we get older. So like I asked my mom, like, what was I like when I was really little? And she's like, you would just sit by yourself and just like read a book quietly. You didn't need to talk to me or anything. You'd play by yourself. You didn't want to be bothered, and you were so content by yourself. And then the older I get, I'm like, yes, I'm very content by myself, and it's my water. So that's why I wore blue for this, my water.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel that even the moon in Pisces is more in that side that wants to be alone and daydream and fantasize, and have this, like imaginary friend. Like Cancer moons are, I don't feel that they need that much time alone as Scorpio or Pisces. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. But I just feel that I just felt through my experience and people that I know that Cancer moons are a little bit different from Scorpio and Pisces. Scorpio and Pisces really, really have a need for a long time. I know we're talking a lot. Oh, okay, it's half an hour past. So this was a great introduction. I don't know if you want to mention anything else. I know that for everybody who wants to sign up for your free class on 2024, it's this week, right?
On Thursday.
Yeah. I hope I can make it. And then you're going to have online workshops soon. Is that what you said?
Yes. I want to start doing moon circles. I just feel that intuitive call to host them. So I think I'm going to do the new moon in Capricorn workshop after, and then the full moon in Leo in January. So
that's amazing. So guys, jump on that. As I said, Lisa is a moon expert. I really, really, like the way you do your chart and teach others how to use that energy in a very beautiful way. Do you want to add anything at the end that we didn't mention about flowing with the moon? What would be your number one advice, or to summarize this?
I guess you just have to cultivate that awareness and get like a cute little journal and just start tracking your energy and write down like today's January 8th, so you put moon in Sag and just like do a little few sentences of like what you did or how you felt, and then that's how you kind of start with it, and you just keep running. It's all like just tracking your cycles.
Before we go, I just remembered, how can we, what do we do for void moons? What do you do for void moons? How do you what do you tell, what is the energy of a void moon for you?
I don't share anything about the void of course moons, but I normally don't start anything new. So that's normally, I find, whenever the moon is at 28 or 29 degrees, even when the sun is, or there's a void of course moon, that's when you'll feel really stagnant and like lethargic. That's probably the best word, where you're like, why do I have no energy? What's happening? And then I find right when the moon changes into the next sign, it's like boom, like something just happens. And it's the same with the void moons, where you're like, okay, what's going on right now? And again, that's sort of that, almost like astrology is a permission slip. It's like, I don't feel like I have energy right now. Who says you have to, right? Like, you don't need to always be doing something. So I'd say just like relax with the void moons if you can, and you don't feel like you have to be super productive all times of the day. So Yeah.
No, but that's a great tip, because we, as I said, it's a condition of our society that we were raised in. You know, you have to do work,
Yeah.
work, 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 work. You know, if you relax, you're slacking. You know, it's kind of like, but that's not productive. At the end, you get sick. We are not productive at the end if you don't get enough rest. So taking time for rest and understanding the cycles of nature, I really do hope we're going to have astrology taught in schools sooner than later, because
Yes.
I feel it's necessary. I really, really feel it's necessary. Well, thank you very much. I really enjoyed this chat. I hope we're going to meet again in person and make some
Yes.
plans in person. I would love that. Thank you very much. I don't know what to say anymore. Guys, please go follow Lisa and join her workshops and buy her books. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay. Thank you for having
have a
me.
great, you're welcome. It was my pleasure, and have a great rest of the week, everybody. Bye. See you soon.
Bye.